It's not a threat. It's not anything. Why would you ask to come back?
Anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here.
This might shock some folks. Diddy had his share of supporters. Here's how they reacted to the verdict.
Count 1, racketeering conspiracy, not guilty. Count 2, not guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, not guilty. Count 5, guilty. So essentially, the jurors found that he was guilty of the Mann Act. That is the transportation to engage in prostitution, but they found him not guilty on sex trafficking, very serious charge there where he could have spent a minimum of 15 years in prison, and not guilty on that racketeering conspiracy, which he could have spent up to life in prison for.
Yeah, you just heard this verdict, and I think I was right. I talked about it before, and I said the RICO Act, they made a tremendous mistake using that. People didn't understand it. And he's found not guilty on 3 counts. The other 2 counts are Mann Act, getting involved in prostitution. It's bullshit charges. And that's what he's convicted on. What do I think? People are asking me, how much time would he get? And he obviously, from what I'm hearing, I don't know if it's true, that he got bail, $1 million bail. If that's true, I had made a bet that he would get over 10 years. I'm going to have to stick with that bet. I made that publicly with someone. And I think I'm going to be paying $500 out. But who knows? I don't know. The judge is going to look at this in a way that's a little different. He heard all the counts. He knows what he did. He's got to abide by the law, but he can give him the max in those 2 areas, 20 years. I don't think he'll get 20 years, but some people are saying he's going to get less than 10, 4 or 5 years. I don't think he's going to get 4 or 5 years. The judge realizes what he's done. So I think he's going to get at least 10, maybe a little more than 10. He won't get to 20, I don't think. It seems like the RICO Act, I understood it better than most people, even lawyers, that people wouldn't understand it. If he would have got hit with no RICO, straight charges of what he did, state charges, I think he would have got crushed. But that's hypothetical. That's Monday quarterback. I explained the RICO charge. It's an organization with, like, let's say the Mafia. I was indicted multiple times on the RICO Act. It was specifically against Italians and the Mafia. And then it was so powerful, it had such a tremendous conviction rate, they started using it against everybody. Black guys, Hispanic, Mexicans. They even used it against Trump. Yeah, and I think he beat the charge as well. It's an organization that's showing the boss, the underboss, the consigliere, captains, maid guys, and they're doing multiple crimes all over the place. That's a criminal organization. Now, he was having sex. Most of the women were willing. They called him back, texted him back. It proved he wasn't forcing them. It proved, he did some ugly shit, but the jury looked at it that they understood it, but they couldn't understand the RICO Act. Well, the RICO case works. It does. It shows a history of this organization, and it shows multiple crimes. He really didn't have multiple. He had these freakouts. He really didn't have multiple crimes. Now, the multiple crimes, people said there was kids. No kids came out at the trial. So we don't know if that's true. The jury probably didn't know if it's true. They said he attempted murder or he was involved in 1 or 2 murders. They gave no proof to that. So the jury looks at that and says, well, he didn't do that. You didn't prove that case. So all the things that they brought out publicly before, they failed to bring out during the trial. The judge said you have to follow the law. They did follow the law. They looked at the law, and they don't see evidence in those charges. And they found him not guilty. Simple as that. The government screwed up big time. How could the jury vote guilty on something that's not there, that they don't even see? So they're following the law. I didn't see that. I didn't hear that. You didn't prove it. So it's not guilty. That's the way the court system works. They have to use it where they can prove to the world, like the Mafia. The whole world knew there was a Mafia. And what we did, it was fairly easy for them to use the RICO, put it all together and show them. They already knew what it was. He hit that girl, but 2 days later, she's calling them back. When are we going to do it again? So, yeah, he did some screwed up shit, but the evidence of the case didn't hold up. And the RICO was the most, when they put that in place, it was the most important part of it. And like I said, they made accusations, but they never brought the accusations up. It was never a witness getting up and saying, yeah, I know he killed Joe Blow, or I know he killed this guy, or I know he raped this woman, or I know he brought a 12 or 13-year-old girl into the thing. She's not there. Nobody's talking about it. So how would the jury find him guilty on those counts? I think they were fair about it. What they couldn't prove, they didn't find him guilty. It's just as simple as that. People go for greed. They're just going for money, even when they don't have a case. They're just going after money. Sometimes they sue and they hope that there'll be a settlement. And you pay them and get rid of them. And like the one with Trump, the porn star, she sued him to try and get money. Even in this case, one of the women did sue him civilly, gave her $30 million. So there's a lot of women out there today in this day and age in Hollywood and sports who are coming out. I was molested, I was touched, or he was talking, sexy to me, or whatever it is. There's a lot of cases because some of them succeeded. And that's what happens. Women see that and they follow. I think I could sue him and I could get a bunch of money. Now, a lot of times they settle out of court, so they're winning. But when you do what Johnny Depp did, he went to trial. It showed she was a monster. And they found her guilty and not Johnny Depp. She lost. So women or men, whoever make these claims in these lawsuits, you better have a real solid case because people know you're out there hunting to just make money.
He could get away with time served, even a couple of years. I mean, this is one of the best possible outcomes that they could have hoped for. The sex trafficking and the RICO conspiracy, that means the jury was buying what the defense was selling in terms of this overarching theme, that this was not coercion for sex, that these two women, Cassie and the woman with the pseudonym Jane, that they entered into these relationships knowing that they made a cost-benefit analysis to engage in these acts, and that there really wasn't coercion, whether that was in the form of financial harm. Remember, we heard about him sort of hanging over Jane's head that he paid her rent, or whether that was, we all saw that 2016 Intercontinental Hotel video of him beating Cassie, apparently, in the midst of a freak-off. So even that wasn't enough for the jurors to overcome that hurdle. I think this is a huge deal. The prosecution had been sort of critiqued for maybe overcharging this case. I think it shows that it was. And the fact that they came back quickly after that modified Allen charge that was administered yesterday with that not guilty on the RICO charge shows you how quickly they got there. So huge win for the defense.
Exactly what I said. A huge win for the defense. It was overcharged. She said exactly what I said. And as far as the girls, they came back. They were willing participants. After that beating, the beating was the worst thing that he did. And she came back a day or two later wanting to do it again. So, they blew it. They blew it. They didn't analyze their case. They didn't analyze their witnesses. And they propped up a case thinking, like I said, they got a 95 to a 98% conviction rate with the RICO. But they're getting sloppy with it. and they're charging people who should have never been charged with a RICO Act. Simple. She didn't warrant anything else, in her favor. She, asking to come back, it's not a threat, it's not anything. Why would you ask to come back? Why wouldn't you go straight to the police department? Why couldn't you do a million things you could have did? You didn't do those things. So that's probably what the jury was thinking. Just what I'm thinking. Why would you not do these things? Now, if she would have ran to the police that day, he would have had a real problem. If she would have went to the hospital, had injuries she could prove, that would have been a different story. She didn't have nothing. She got a couple of kicks, a couple of slaps. I don't know if he punched, I don't remember. He might have, or grabbed her by the hair. Another bullshit move. Isn't she the one who got $20 or $30 million? For those kicks and slaps and pulling the hair, she got $30 million, bro. He could pull my fucking hair and throw a slap or two and give me $30 million. I'd be real happy with him.
I don't know what she gonna do, y'all.
I mean, I've seen stupid things in my life. This is, takes the cake. That's not supporters. These are just ignorant people doing that. I could understand that people support him, not that stupid shit, dancing half naked in the street, spraying baby oil on them. These are maniacs. But John Gotti had supporters. And he did a lot of things, and he was guilty, he found guilty, and a lot of evidence came out, and they were supporting him. So there's people who support you, and people who don't. He might have taken care of and done the right thing with a lot of different people. Listen, I have a lot of crime, too. I have supporters, and I have non-supporters who hate me. But I have a lot of people that I treated good in life, and they still love me or care about me. You call them supporters, call them whatever you want to call them. It's normal. Some people have liked you. You've never done anything to hurt them. You've done things to help them through life, in friendship, in different ways. And they like you. They don't give a shit what you do. I've seen a lot of kids do ugly crimes, school shootings, all kinds of things. Their mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers, oh, he's such a good kid. He just killed 14 people. But they have supporters. He was a good people to them. He wasn't a good people to the other people that he hurt. So you can look at it two ways. There's going to be supporters and there's going to be haters. And that's life.
I heard allegedly it was 2 slip and falls in the RICO. Look. Slide at your wrist. Slide at your own wrist.
So I had to ask you, did you come with a bottle of Astroglide and baby oil, or did you pick them up afterwards, or how did that take shape?
It was actually gifted to me.
Okay.
It was a gift that keeps on giving. Okay. Never even seen this thing.
Okay.
It's the first thing. Right. But when I touched it, I seen the power that it had.
Yeah. Yeah.
It have magical properties.
Right.
Magical properties, man. But you got to keep it separate from the baby oils. That's how you get caught up in a RICO. So just make sure you just do that. Whoa, when I heard the not guilty, I didn't know if I was hearing it right. I said, I made noise in the corner, You know, the officers, the court officers are trying to tell us, quiet, quiet, quiet. I think he needs to be now as an advocate against abuse and abuse of women and abuse of anybody. I think he needs to stand firmly in this and become a beacon in this. He needs to become an ambassador of this now. This is something that he personally needs to do.
The first part of the interview, he was acting what he is, a fucking moron. And then the second part, he's trying to say, you could change your life around and act decent and not hurt women, not do this, not do that. So, listen, I don't even know what to say. When you see a person like that, when I was younger, I worked in a construction site. I went into a mental institution. We were replacing pipes and stuff in there. And I've seen people act like this and do things, drinking water out of a toilet bowl, doing weird shit. People are fucking wackos. This guy is a half a wacko. Why would you do that? Go down there spraying women with whatever solution he's gotten, or baby oil. They're out of their mind. I don't know how to comment on some people like that. They're just, you ever hear that expression, a picture was worth 1,000 words? Well, take a look at the picture and I don't know I don't have 1,000 words. I became a born again Christian and I repented for what I did. If he does something like that, there's a good possibility. You know, you take a guy to a real extreme, changes his life and becomes a good person. So you say to yourself, when you watch that happen, it's rare, but when you watch that happen, you say, if God could forgive him and make him come out and help people now, then God bless him. He could be a good advocate for that, because if the jury and God could forgive him for what he did, then God and juries could forgive anybody for anything they did. So there's always that possibility. So I don't think he should be an advocate for anything, really. But if he does, you know, more power to him. I know there's guys in prison doing life sentences and changed their lives around and came out. And these are pretty evil people. And they really did change their life around. When I became a born-again Christian, the pastor told me, Sammy, with your background, if you could change your life and do what you're doing now, there's a lot of people may follow you because of the reason of, if God forgave you, Jesus forgave you, then he can forgive me for the things I've done. So there's always a way to look at it. He might become an advocate, who knows? And if he does, he might become a powerful one because he's talking to other people who would do what he did and trying to stop it. And maybe he will stop some of them. And it's a good thing if that happens. So I really don't know. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I really don't know. But that's just my opinion. If you like this episode of The Bullpen, the Mafia news station, watch the full video right here on YouTube. You can also catch every episode of The Bullpen podcast on Apple and Spotify. Hit the link in the description to listen now.